Welcome to the franchise, the Cowboys Ultimate Insider Show. I'm Charean Williams, and this is Rick Goslin. Together, I think we've been in DFW covering the Cowboys in the NFL for almost half a century, which is a long time, Rick. We are DFW's only Pro Football Hall of Fame selectors and have been, again, for a really long time, more than a quarter of a century, I think, combined for the two of us.
Seems like forever.
It sure does. So today, on today's show, we've got Rod Marinelli. We did a one-on-one with Rod Marinelli. We're going to talk about the Tampa 2 defense, and then we're going to get into, at the end, how this draft impacts the Tampa 2 defense and how they think they're going to be a better defense. So let's start with the Tampa 2, Rick. I was in Tampa when Tony Dungy and Rod Marinelli and Monty Kiffin, that whole group got there. And what people don't realize, really, is it goes back to Dungy's days playing in Pittsburgh for the Steel Curtain for Bud Carson and for Chuck Noll back then, and he really took that defense and what they did in that defense and brought it to Tampa in 1996 when they arrived. But the pieces of the Tampa 2 were already there when they got there, and the pieces of that defense turned out to be Hall of Famers, and Derek Brooks was there at the weak side linebacker, and you already had Warren Sapp at defensive tackle, and then of course John Litch was already there, who's been a finalist for the Hall of Fame quite a few times, and he was at safety. So you already had those three parts in place when he got there, and they used those parts and became one of the best defenses, perhaps arguably, in NFL history.
Yeah, it was a perfect marriage of personnel and scheme, because you had these three guys, and in this scheme, the most important guy is probably the defensive tackle, and they had a Hall of Famer there, Warren Sapp, the weak side linebacker, and then the safety. And they had added Simeon Rice, a great pass rusher, to the mix. But this was in the final 9 seasons Rod was in Tampa, the Buccaneers finished in the top 10 in defense all 9 times. And again, they had the NFL's best defense in 2002 when they won the Super Bowl in 2005. So this is a defense. The scheme is such, you need the front 4 to rush the passer. This is not a blitz-heavy scheme. You want the other 7 players in the scheme in zone coverage where they're watching the quarterback. That gives you the best chance of creating takeaways if everybody's watching the ball, watching the quarterback. Rod doesn't like the blitz because if you take a guy to blitz, you're taking him out of coverage, and that becomes a soft spot in the coverage. When Rod did send someone to blitz, it was usually the cornerback, and it was Ronnie Barber. Ronnie Barber had 28 career sacks off the corner, because you only have to worry about that one area in coverage. But yeah, this was always a high sack, high takeaway defense. They had great pass rush. In 2000, they had 55 sacks and 41 takeaways. You know, when you're rushing the passer, you're creating chaos and havoc, and that ball pops loose, and the Buccaneers are falling on it. Yeah,
and it was almost a bend but don't break defense, and I know they kind of hate those terms, but you did talk about that they also were good in yards. They didn't give up a lot of yards, even though they considered themselves bend but don't break. But the turnovers was the key. Getting those takeaways and getting those sacks was key. And if we take it in today's Rod Marinelli's defense, that's one thing they haven't done since he's been here. He got here in 2013 as defensive line coach. They brought in Monty Kiffin and said, we're going back to the 4-3 defense and we're going to the Tampa 2 defense with these guys. And the takeaways and the sacks have not been there since 2013 when they got here in 2014 when Ron Marinelli took over as defense coordinator.
Yeah, you need the pass rush. And what Rod had in Tampa was a Hall of Fame tackle and a Hall of Fame caliber, and Simeon Rice. Simeon Rice led the NFL in sacks at 15.5 the year they won it. You need the pass rush. That makes everything better. If you're attacking the quarterback, you're causing fumbles, and the ball's coming out quicker, that leads to interceptions. You have to get takeaways. You need plays out of this defense. But to do that, you have to be able to rush the quarterback with your front 4. And you know they had Booger McFarland, the #1 draft picks up and down that defensive line. They could do it. This Cowboy defensive line does not have those #1 draft picks, and now Rod's trying to do it with quantity.
Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence, you might be the Simeon Rice. He showed a little bit last year, really got after the quarterback. But you're right, it's the rushmen, as Rod likes to call them, and he likes to rotate those guys. And we talked to Rod a little bit about that, as getting those fresh legs in there to continually go after the passer. I still think this defense is missing the defensive tackle, though.
Without question.
They still don't have that. And I know they looked at a couple guys in the draft that they thought might be able to fit that 3 technique and just didn't get him there with that first-round pick. But I do think they're still missing that part of this defense. And until they get that, I don't know how great this defense is going to be.
Yeah, because when Warren Sapp is there, you've got generally 2 and maybe 3 blockers, and that frees up the other guys. That gives Simeon Rice a 1 man to beat, and that gives Booger McFarland 1 man to beat. You need that dominant force in the middle. That makes the whole thing tick, and right now that piece is missing. Coming up, we're going to have Rod Marinelli talking about the Cowboys defense, the Tampa 2, and this rookie class.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little, spearheading a campus tour, and another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? But now she's like, yeah! You aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Well, I just wanted to ask you first about your first-round pick,
Yeah.
Leighton Vander Esch. Just kind of, I know you haven't seen a lot, but what you saw on film that convinced you that he could play in this defense?
Yeah, I think he starts off as a great, really, I shouldn't say great, we have to wait and see, but a really good pass defender. He's got great length, he plays in space. He did it in college, had 3 and 4 picks and a lot of knockdowns, and one of our coaches worked him out. You could really see it. That range, he's got the traits that you looked at for in zone coverage. He cover man because he got great speed, and he's very instinctive in his run gaps, but he's really smart. I mean, he's like I know, like Sean Lee here all day. He's going to be that type of guy, and he's learning from the best, one of the best in history.
Right, with the Giants drafting Barkley and the Eagles drafting Geis, does that pick become even better because you're going to have to focus on a little more on run defenses?
Oh yeah, in every game that's our first focus anyway. We got to play the run, knock it out, and so yeah, we got 3 quality backers. We got a couple of good outside backers. We feel we're starting to have some guys where we have been here a while, not just new guys constantly coming in. So we're building a base a little bit, and we got better at the end of the year. We really jumped at the end. And we got those young guys back, so that really helped us. And so, yeah, no question, though. He's a heck of a runner.
Was it important to get his size in the middle of that defense?
You would like that with that length. And Jalen, he's long. And Sean is long, too. Not like it. These guys are long. When they put their hands out, you cover hook to hook. And so it closes windows down, and they're athletic. That's what you want, speed and athleticism.
Since you've been here, is this the most depth you've had on this defense, the best you've maybe felt about that part of it?
I think so far, and it's got to develop. We've got some numbers, but not just the numbers, it's guys who've been here. It's the guys who've been here. And, it was a blow, we lost Hitch, one of our all-time favorites now. But we drafted him, we got him done, and we're happy he made money. We have D-Law, he was our drafted guy, came in and played us. He made a lot of money. That's our guy. Tyrone Crawford, that's our guy. Malik, that's our guy. Boise's, that's our guy. Sean Lee, that's our guy. Jalen, that's our guy. Byron Jones, and all those young rookies, those are guys that we drafted here. So we saw traits in these guys. So now we got to get our job done.
Can Armstrong be your guy?
Well, what we like, we see him. Off of college tape is 2 years ago we had 10 sacks or something like that, and had a better game. I thought he gained some weight over there, and those guys think they got to get bigger and all that, and they don't. You want lean, fast guys. Like D-Law looked like the racing lizard last year. So that's what you want, and he's a quality person. You get quality people like that, you got a chance to do some special things.
What did Simeon Rice play at, his weight?
Sim was probably about 255.
255, yeah.
He was long. I mean, he was
Very
real long, 6'5", and he was just a muscle. And just length, leverage, and he was fast. I mean, elite fast. And he's special. Like I say, that guy should be in. I mean, there's no better rushers, man. Some of these rushers got in. That's okay. I respect them all. I think that guy's one of the most special guys around.
Do you want the wave rush concept?
Oh, yeah. I just believe the big thing about that, people, if you got quality, you got to have quality to do it. But toward the end of the year, your guys are healthy when you have that. It's the key that everybody's still practicing. you got to practice during the season to get better. When guys play so many snaps, they're beat up, they can't stand up till Wednesday or Thursday. They can't do anything. And now you're getting close to the game, you got to get them out, get them ready to go. Here, you got a chance to keep them fresh, keep working. And the thing I like about it, you have 8 guys involved. Those other guys, they know they're going to play. Their eyes are big all week, they're listening, and that's how you create competition. That competition, hey, I feel pretty good. Oh, shoot, man, this guy played pretty good last week. And, you know, so the competition is up there. If they have to earn that spot. If they're not, then we play 7.
I like fresh legs in defense because they don't rotate the offensive linemen.
Yeah.
It's going fresh legs.
The worst thing, those old linemen come in, they see 4 new fresh guys, like, oh, God. You know, they come in, and now you're motoring it, you know. But hopefully we got to just work that depth and get it going.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Welcome back. Well, it was good hearing from Rod talking about this draft class and his defense, and we're going to explore how these rookies can impact what the Cowboys do on defense this season.
I really like their linebacker core, Rick, with what they did, getting Leighton Vander Esch. He's going to play in the middle. They played Jalen Smith too much. He played 55% of the snaps last year coming back from that drop foot, and now he's not wearing that brace anymore. I think Jalen Smith's going to be better, not only because it's his 2nd year away from the injury, not wearing the brace, but also because I think they're going to play him fewer snaps. They're going to play a lot more nickel this year, and I think he's going to play less snaps, and I think that's really going to help him. But I like this linebacker core.
Yeah, and I especially like Vander Esch because the Giants draft Saquon Barkley, the Redskins draft Darren Geis. I mean, you're going to have to stop the run in this division now. And Geis is a big physical presence. He can be a Hardy Nickerson type fit in this defense, which is what Rod had in Tampa. And again, you want these guys to play the run and drop in coverage. And Rod talks about his length, the long arms, you know, the space he covers. Sean Lee is a perfect weak side backer in this defense because that's what Derek Brooks does. You don't want these guys blitzing. You want guys watching the football, going after the football, and getting takeaways. This defense has to get takeaways this season to succeed.
Well, you worry a little bit about the free safety position. Xavier Woods is kind of the only guy back there now that they've moved Byron Jones to corner, and I think that makes their corners better, but I do worry about that free safety position and their safeties in general with Jeff Heath at the strong safety. I think that's another weakness for this defense is that safety position. We talked about the defensive tackle position, a 3 technique especially, but I think the safeties here are a little bit weak heading into the season.
And the problem is you can't fix it all in one offseason.
Right.
I mean, the Eagles were 4 games better than the Cowboys, actually 5 if you want to throw away that last game in Philadelphia. But you can't fix it all in one season. What they've done, they've fixed the run defense with Vander Esch. They've improved the pass rush with Armstrong. And you're going to have to live with the safeties. But if your front 7 is dominant, it doesn't matter
That's right.
who's back there. Can you name the starting secondary from the Giants Super Bowl teams? No.
Yeah, no.
You know, that's the point. If the front 4 is dominant enough and they're starting to build something, if you can't have a quality rush, you want a quantity rush. They don't have a Sap. That's a question if they have a Rice. So what you want to do is keep fresh legs rolling onto the field because the offensive line they don't rotate. You got tired legs in the second half going against fresh legs in defense, and Rob thinks he's got 8 pass rushers. Turn them loose.
Turn them loose. And I also think there's still a chance, and they've talked about this a little bit, that if they get the pass rushers and they stay healthy during training camp, I still think there's a chance maybe they trade one of those pass rushers for a Earl Thomas. And I'm not saying that's a good move. I'm just saying I think that's something that we have to watch because I think that's something that they could do player for player type deal moving forward because I do think the Seahawks are still interested in getting rid of him, and I do think the Cowboys are still interested in him, even though we know he's 30 years old or close to 30 years old and probably is past his prime.
Yeah, and that's why I would not have traded a second-round draft pick, and I would have been reluctant to trade a third-round draft pick because in the NFL, once you get to 30, you're expendable, and you're not want to give up a second-round draft pick for a guy that's 30 years old. He may not have 2 or 3 more years.
Here's a question to ponder, and I'll get your opinion on this. Do you think this could possibly be a year when their defense maybe is better than their offense, when their defense kind of carries the load, for lack of a better term, than their offense does?
It has to.
Yeah.
Losing Bryant, losing Witten. Jerry's always put all of his money and his draft picks in the offense. The offense has always carried this team, dating back to Troubles days. But now you got a slow motion offense. You don't have the downfield guy. You don't have the Des Bryant and Jason Witten. You're going to have to ask your defense to do more. And the problem with this defense, the Super Bowl champions have averaged 43 sacks and 33 takeaways. The history of the Super Bowl, 43 sacks, 33 takeaways. The Cowboys haven't had 40 sacks in a season since 2011, and they hadn't had 33 takeaways since 1999. They need plays from this defense, which is why I think they went out and got Van Der Esch. He gives them a chance for interceptions anyway, middle linebacker.
He reminds Rod of Rolando McClain, and that's probably the best middle linebacker that the Cowboys have had in this defense since 2013, since they went to this defense. How much of an impact, you know the history of this game, how much of an impact can a rookie at linebacker? We know the rookie struggles at receiver and some other positions, quarterback in particular. How much can a rookie linebacker impact the defense? It's a little bit easier, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when you're a first-round draft pick. You're gonna walk into a starting spot. I like the comparison to Brian Urlacher more than I like Rolando McClain. This Urlacher was a guy who was a safety in New Mexico, who was a big-bodied guy. They moved him to linebacker. They tried him on the outside, put him on the inside, and he fell right into place, right at home because of his length, as Rod likes to say. He covers a lot of ground passing-wise, going right to left, and he's a big physical presence in the run defense. I really like the Van Der Esch pick.
Well, that's it for this episode of The Franchise. We really appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you next time.